Hey, vinyl community, Jeff back again. I wanted to do another one of these most valuable in my collection type videos. I remember doing one of these before, and when I look back, I'm like, wow, that was April of 2020. It was funny, some of the early comments I made about, that was like the first month we were working from home type stuff, or, within the first month and a half or so, and COVID, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I went back and I looked, and I did like the top 5 based on Discogs, and I looked at that point the maximum level. They got the 3 different levels. The maximum it sold for, the least it sold for, and then the median it sold for. So I saw over Pieces of Vinyl, he did one of these a few weeks ago on the most valuable records in his collection. So I thought, it's been a long time since I've done it. I wanted to kind of look again and see where things stood. And I did find the box set I showed back on that 2020 thing, which was not really part of the countdown, but that is still the most valuable thing in my collection. But again, it's like multiple CDs, and it's a box set that's really hard to find. So, but this is a CD thing. But looking at the actual just vinyl, most expensive vinyl that I have, I want to go ahead and take a look at the top 10 that I currently have. And I'm going with the median price this time, because really that's more, to me, more of an average of what it would sell for. Whereas the maximum, somebody might have at some point paid some outrageous amount of money for it and, purchased it. And so that's going to throw off that, that whole, that's the most it's ever sold for, but it's probably not really worth that any longer. So, but let's get right into this. This is all based on the median prices. And I was surprised. A couple of the ones that I showed in 2020 made it to this one too. And then I did, for kicks and giggles, I flipped it and looked at the max. And most of these were on the max with a couple additional ones. But, it wasn't drastically enough to where I would do this, a whole separate thing. So, but number 10 on the list, which has a median price of under $100, was Slave to the Grind. This is the Record Store Day reissue from what, a year ago, or when was that? Real recently. It wasn't too drastically long ago. The Record Store Day reissue on double vinyl records. Now, I have been contemplating selling this because I bought the box set after this, and I thought, well, I don't really need this except for it's got those bonus tracks, and do I really want to keep it for the bonus tracks? But I kind of have it laid aside. Either for like a contest giveaway or a resale or trade or something. I just haven't made a decision. But yeah, so this is number 10, coming in at about $97 median price per Discog. So this is my 10th. And then coming in at number 9, this one ranks in at about $100, is Holy Soldier's Last Train. Now, this is a 1991 album that in 2017 was reissued on CD and vinyl for the first time on vinyl. And it, I guess it's a limited run of vinyl. And so I guess that helps to raise the price. I don't know exactly how many they did, but yeah, I was kind of surprised. This one was not on my list previously, at least that I could tell. So I guess now as years go by, this becomes a little more costly because it's harder to find. So Holy Soldier's Last Train. And now coming in number 8, and this one was on the previous list, and actually my previous list I think was top 5, so this actually has dropped a little bit, but that is 2015's Fallen by Stryper. Now the album came out in 2015 and it came out on vinyl. This is not a reissue. It came out at the time of the label release, so this is the original release. Now in 2020 there was a reissue of this on Church on Vinyl, which is what they have done a lot of the later Stryper stuff, and I've shown in a recent video where I picked up most of those. Fallen by them was by the Church of Vinyl reissue was the only one I didn't get because I had the original. Now in hindsight, I'm kind of like, I should have got that just for the collector's sense of it, because I do have the other Church of Vinyl reissues. But this one also came in at $100 median for Discogs. Now, coming in at number 7 at roughly $103 median is Magdalene's Big Bang. Now, this is a 1992 album. Amazing, melodic, whatever you want to call it. That hair metal feel, whatever. Just straight up melodic type hard rock and metal. Featuring Ken Tamplin on vocals, Lanny Cordola on guitar. It's just an all-star band. It's a great, amazing album. It was released in 1992, and this is the 2019 limited run vinyl reissue of this album. So there are only a handful of them out there, which makes sense why it would jump up in price. But there you go. That is the $103 median resale value. And then number 6, coming in at a median price of $121, was King's X Dogman. If you watch any of my most recent videos, you realize this is new to my collection. I was able to get a copy of this for a great price. This is the 5th King's X album. Came out in 1994. The vinyl was reissued on 2017, and it was one of the only ones from those earlier reissues of those that came out around that time that I could not find. And a private seller on Facebook let go of all of his he said he was letting go of all of his vinyl, which was about, I don't know, 20 pieces or so. And this was one of them, and I grabbed it, and he wanted a reasonable price. Way less than $121 that Discogs is showing as the median. And this is the one I had also mentioned. Actually, it sold a couple of them like in August for quite a bit more than that. So, yeah, anyway, this is a great album, and it's getting harder to find. And number 5, coming in at $128 median, is the 2019 Michael Sweet album 10. Now, this is, of course, his initial release. It was his latest album in 2019. It's a deluxe edition. It comes with a 7-inch single. Rat Pack Records, they do a great job, in my opinion, of putting out just amazing packages. There's photos. There's all kinds of fun stuff in here. As you can see, it's got an OBI strip type sticker that's bigger. Deluxe vinyl pressing, yada yada. It's on translucent, whatever. There's a print in here that has a numbered edition print. But anyway, yes, so another Stryper related item. Michael Sweet, vocalist of Stryper, of course, with his 2019 album 10, coming in at $128. And then number 4, coming in at $137, is Dream Theater's Metropolis Part 2. Now, this is their 1999 album, I believe their 5th studio album, and this is the 2014 vinyl reissue by Music on Vinyl, who always do an excellent job. Excellent pressing, double record set, and I guess, you know, it's definitely getting harder to find these days, and I'm glad I got one earlier on. And this is an amazing album. It's got some of their most classic, it's got their instrumentals and just so many songs. To me, this album is where they really found their footing, and a lot of these songs are still staples in their show to this day. And interestingly enough, coming in number 3 is also Dream Theater's, their follow-up album to the last album, 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence. This is a 2002 release. They came out on vinyl in 2016. And this one ranks up there with the median price of $142. Double record set on orange vinyl. Amazing sound. One of my favorite records. I think this and Metropolis. Oh, okay. I love all Dream Theater. Hard to say. But I think Metropolis, this one, there's a couple of them that stand out as just being my favorite. This is one of my favorites. It's a double record set that has kind of a concept. Well, both of them were concept albums, I guess. So great stuff. Love it. Coming in at number 3. Coming in at number 2, also for $142. So I guess you could interchange this and Dream Theater. They're both around the same amount. But this one showed up first. And that's another one by Stryper. Second Coming. This is their 2013 double record set on Back on Black Records. And it is the album where they went back in the studio and re-recorded a bunch of their earlier tracks with modern technology. So it's basically a revisiting of the old stuff with updated technology to put this out. There is supposedly a Second Coming Part 2, or whatever you want to call it, where they're going to continue on with the albums that came out. This one covers mainly the early albums, and then there was supposed to be a Part 2 that has the other albums after that. So still holding up for that one, but this one has jumped up to the number 2 most expensive, and this one was on my previous list also, on the top 5. So it's still there at $142. And the number 1 most expensive median priced album in my collection as of now ranks in at $179. And this one kind of blows my mind because it was just released in 2021, Record Store Day, the DGs with Hail Satin. This is the one side is DGs, which is the Foo Fighters name for their Bee Gees cover band. And so they do a bunch of Bee Gees covers on side 1, and on side 2, it's some live stuff or some, some stuff from the Foo Fighters themselves, upcoming type music. And so it's got a nice little, reflective finish there. But yeah, I mean, so this came out, it was a big deal in 2021, and I grabbed one, and a lot of people grabbed them, and I went back to the record store for days to weeks after, and they were still there. So I don't feel like it was a super limited pressing, but I guess now, a year later, people are selling it for pretty high money, and $179 is the median price on this. So there you go, number 1 most valuable record in my collection, according to Discogs and their median value range. Now, just a real brief rundown. Like I said, I did the max value, and here's some of the ones that didn't make it. So I have a copy of Ultimate Sin by Ozzy. It has a max value of like $325. My copy's kind of beat up. I doubt it'd be worth any of that. The Dream Theater, the DGs, both Dream Theaters were still on there. The Michael Sweet was still on there. Peter Criss's Cat album, which I recently got a copy of, was up there as number 10 most expensive. Things like Kiss Originals, my copy is barely worth $10, but Kiss Originals is on there, and Kiss Unplugged, both in the $250 range. So my copies are not worth that. But those are some of the other albums that they say are the maximum selling albums in my collection. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching. I'll be back. Rock on and rock hard.